for joining us. Whether it's the beginning or end of your day personally, we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy as we inspire and uplift your lives. We are 13 days away from the most joyous day of the year, the day we set aside to express faith, hope, love, and spread joy to others. 1 Corinthians 13:13 declares, "Now abide faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love." These three, faith, hope, love, is the theme for December. The Christmas holidays are just around the corner, and it's so easy for us to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of all of our holiday busyness. DeAnn and I want to bring back into focus the reason for the season during this entire month. We hope that you will be richly blessed and filled with hope and joy of this season and always. As we celebrate the most joyous time of the year, DeAnn and I are so excited to share an interview from a phenomenal guest last year that we believe is still relevant, especially during this time. We hope you get so much out of it and enjoy.
We are so excited because we have an incredible guest with us on this evening, just doing some wonderful things to help others transition and move forward. Our first guest is speaker, grief counselor, transitional life coach, and author. Good evening, Dr. Cunningham.
Well, hello, Miss Emily and DeAnn.
Hi.
We're so glad to have you join us this evening. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to each of you. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm honored to be here on your platform tonight.
Thank you so much. We're happy to have you to be an extended family member of Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that we kind of went over some of the things that you do, but we would love for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure. Well, hello, everybody. Again, my name is Dr. Tanya Cunningham, and I am known as the grief doctor. Why? Because I help grieving and hurting individuals. I help them transition from loss to life, from pain to purpose, and to recognize that there is life after loss. It's just a different life. And I do that by way of settings such as this on tonight, by conducting seminars, workshops, by coaching, by one-on-one counseling, and writing books. So as a grief counselor, transitional life coach, and an author, again, I help people really try to transform one day at a time, and that just encourages me to help people transform one life at a time.
Awesome. DeAnn?
So, Miss Tanya, I have a question. Would you say that grief is the most difficult feeling we experience as human beings?
Yes, Miss DeAnn, I would, especially for us as believers, because a lot of times we haven't quite understood grief, and we have sometimes thought if we have grief, it means that we have less faith, and we're not exercising the faith that God has given us. So it's difficult a lot of times because we really don't understand it and know what it is, but it is certainly universal, and absolutely everybody experiences it.
And so, Dr. Tanya, so how would you say we should handle discussions of grief, especially right now, everything we're going through with COVID-19 and just what our children may be hearing on the television or from parents? I know we recently experienced some issues in our family where we're in mourning right now, and kids are at home doing virtual school, and so that's a process within itself. And so what do you suggest? How do we deal with our children?
A great question, DeAnn. The first thing I would suggest is really to acknowledge it. One of the things that I can appreciate about this time that we're in, even though it's a tough time and a tough situation, but it's also been a moment when this global pandemic has brought grief awareness to the forefront, to where we can no longer ignore it. So we have to deal with that elephant in the room. So my main suggestion and the first suggestion is to address the issue, to sit down and talk about it. I've gotten many messages via inbox, text, email, because people are feeling, this is what they'll say, I'm feeling some type of way, but they don't know what it is, and it's actually grief. Now, when it comes to our children, I encourage people to include your children in the grief process or in your crisis when someone has died. And from ages, I would say 7, the experts would say from 7 and up, because they're able to kind of understand loss at that point. But children are more resilient than we are as adults. So, again, include them and basically talk to them about it from your perspective. Because if you don't, the world will teach them. And it may be something that you really don't want them to learn.
That is something. And I think, because I have a 7 and a 10-year-old, and I think that in a normal situation, like grief is a conversation that we've been able to kind of discuss. But this year, it just seems like everything has been so overwhelming. And so I just know a lot of parents are probably, struggling with just how to have those difficult conversations with their children. So thank you.
Great question.
Absolutely. So you, Dr. Cunningham, you're an author, and I just wanted to ask you, I have a couple more questions. One of the questions, tell us about your latest book that you have out, because we want our listening audience to grab hold to valuable and meaningful materials as they navigate through that process. DeAnn and I are, well acquainted with that. Both of us lost our mother. She lost her mother several years ago, and it's been almost 3 for me.
Wow. Well, definitely my continued condolences to you both, and you definitely can understand what we're talking about grief. I listened to your broadcast previously, and again, I love the segments that you have in there where you're talking about it, especially during this time. And this new project is the sequel to my first book. This book is called Grief Work is Essential, Not Optional. Let the Healing Continue. And it's a memoir of overcoming grief, depression, and rejection. So it's about my life, but the goal is for the reader to see their life story and to really understand how loss has impacted their lives. So what I help people do is to identify grief, because it is a part of our everyday life. We just don't talk about it, or we just don't recognize that it is. So the book, again, is about, it deals with misconceptions about grief only being about death, when it's not. It's about loss. And just DeAnn, like you said, the children are going through grief. Pastors are missing the members of their church. I mean, grief is experienced through loss of employment, loss of your health, loss of your house. So that's what this book is about, to help you really dig deeper into your healing process. And it is essential. If indeed you plan to live a healthy life, you must do your grief work.
Yes, as I take a deep sigh, I'm trying to do my best, Dr. Cunningham, to do my grief work. Now I just take it moment by moment, minute by minute,
Absolutely.
Second by second, day by day.
Absolutely.
And we may
it's
have
a process.
To talk offline.
Believe me, I'm open. I am open to do that. All of us have to do it. Our grief work, I've had to do it. And believe it or not, this book was birthed in the pandemic. So it came from the pressure of that, having to go deeper in my healing. And so you guys can definitely get it from the website, drtanyacunningham.com. Or if you're local in town, you can inbox me via Facebook or Instagram, and we can meet, and I can give it to you personally.
Yes, I would have to get a signed copy, so I would definitely entertain that in a socially distanced fashion. I hate this sign.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to be selfless and not selfish.
Right.
Yes.
And you're known, we've talked about grief and you being a grief counselor and as being the grief doctor. How would you encourage grieving during this holiday season? Because general grief, to me, is different than the holiday season. It's like an extra heaviness that kind of comes upon individuals depending on, who you are.
Right.
So,
you're exactly right. Some people call it the holiday blues. So even if you're not even dealing with grief, people who are alone go through the holiday blues. So in reality, it's like a triple impact that we're experiencing. You have the holidays, you have the pandemic, and grief in itself. So you have all of those, which kind of complicates the situation. and it moves people into complicated grief. So my encouragement to you in the holiday season is to take some action. First thing, acknowledge it. Acknowledge where you are. If you're feeling sad, feel sad. Give yourself permission to do that wherever you are in the spectrum. And then once you do that, start creating your new normal. Create your new normal. Because, again, the life that you had prior to your loss, unfortunately, is no longer. So you have to create that new normal. And then key is to take time for yourself. Take time for yourself. And then lastly, the S, as it relates to acts, moving in action, is to seek help and set boundaries during this holiday season.
Remember to tune in to the E-Man After Show at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight and all of our other shows throughout the week on the We Talk Radio Network. Also, We Talk Radio has a brand new website. See all of the latest updates by logging on to www.wetalkradio.com and follow the We Talk Radio Network on all social media platforms at We Talk Radio. We would love to hear from you. Please email us your questions and comments at eblue@wetalkradio.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Brand New Day Emily and Rearing Royalty. And keep the conversation going. Tell us how you are abiding in faith, hope, and love, especially during this season.